Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to our show. On this episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff, we're going to be talking about an awesome little brand called Mido, and particularly their Ocean Star Captain 4 model, as seen here in titanium. So, a little bit about Mido. It's a Swiss brand. It was established in 1918. It is a part of the Swatch Group, and they actually position it in the market as a middle range brand, along with Hamilton, Tissot, and Certina. So, I would say, Hamilton and Tissot are really well known, and they kind of span a very large range of types of watches. I would say Mido isn't as spread. It's more focused on slightly nicer models. So you can expect this to be comparable in build quality to some of the nicer modeled Tissots and Hamiltons. And if you're familiar with Certina, I would say that they're pretty comparable in build as well. So what we have here is a dive watch, and just to go over some general important features on a dive watch, basically you want to look for water resistance. Does it have a screw down crown? They're generally pretty tough, very legible. You also want that dive bezel, basically, so you could time underwater, but you can use it to time other things as well. And also diver's extension, which just means that you can extend the bracelet quickly to fit over a wetsuit. So, the official title of this particular model is the Ocean Star Captain 4 Titanium. So it's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's a really cool watch. It retails for about $1,180. You can get it. Basically, the street price would be about $800, slightly under $800. I've seen it. You can get it kind of in the mid 700s. The case size is 42.5 millimeters in diameter. The height is 11.43 millimeters high, so it's not very thick. It's rather thin. It's made out of titanium, which makes it very lightweight. And let's go ahead and take a closer look. Cool. All right. So let's start with the bezel here. As you can see, it has that great gold-plated bezel. It is unidirectional, which means it turns one way. So just get an idea of the bezel action here. It's pretty nice. There is a little bit more give than I would like, but I wouldn't call it sloppy. The grip is pretty nice, as you can see. It's pretty easy to grab onto, so shouldn't be an issue even if you had maybe some gloves on as well. The markings, as you can see on this 60-minute bezel, are engraved, which is a nice touch. So they're not just painted on or anything like that. They're actually etched and then filled with a black color. It has a lume pip here at 12 o'clock, which is very important for a diver's watch. So basically, when you're in the dark, you can kind of have a quick point of reference as far as, where you are and how long you've been under, based on the glowing bezel pip there. Okay, we got the screw down crown, which is very nice, and it's signed, as you can see. Get too close there, but you can see it's really nice, solid crown. I have to say, Mido is one of the nicer crowns that I've had any experience with. It's just extremely solid. There's no playing it whatsoever. The thing is built like a tank in that regards. So the movement, as you can see, it has a nice little sweeping hand there. So it's actually an automatic ETA 2836-2, which is hacking and hand windable. So if you're not too familiar with automatic movements, hacking just means that when you pull out the crown to set the time, you can actually get a time hack. You can have it stop. So the second hand will stop when you pull it out, and hand windable means, you know, even though it does have a rotor there, we'll get a better look at. And it is an automatic, you can hand wind it. So it's definitely nice to have and something you'd expect in this price range. So on the case back, let's open this up so we can get a better look at it, hopefully, and maybe even get this diver's extension out and try to get it to focus there. Okay. All right, cool. So that's probably about as good as it's gonna get there. It does have a display case back, which is great, so you can see that awesome ETA movement that's been branded for Mido. And you can see that it actually does have some nice Geneva striping on the rotor. Nothing too crazy as far as decoration goes, but you know, it's a nice feature, especially when you consider that a lot of the competition doesn't necessarily have. It's a lot easier to just put on a regular case back, something that's etched, and then it's a lot easier to get the water resistant. So when you have a watch that has a display case back and is still at least 200 meters water resistant, that is very cool to have, because, you know, it's just a little bit nicer quality, you know, build quality went into it. So let's talk about the dial and hands. As you can see here, it's a textured wave pattern dial, which is pretty nice. Hopefully we can catch it there. You guys can get a nice idea. It's got a lot of texture. It's really clean, balanced dial. It's very legible. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's really symmetrical, you know, and I think that kind of ties into the balanced aspect of it. It has applied indices. It has a day-date complication. You can see the nice gold accent. It kind of ties into everything here, and so that's pretty cool. It's just a nice feature as far as bringing in some somewhat more exotic materials into a dive watch or a watch in general. It definitely adds a little bit of luxury to it. So the lume is actually blue. I'll try to get some lume shots here towards the end. But it does glow blue. It's pretty strong, I'd say. It's not, you know, anything to boast about, but it definitely does the job. It doesn't leave me wanting more or anything like that. I think it definitely is good for what it is, and as far as I'm gonna take it into the water, I'm sure I'll be able to see it. So you can see, we already mentioned it's 200 meters water resistant, which is very nice, which is about 660 feet. And as far as the bracelet goes, very cool bracelet. It's a 22 millimeter lug width. It has solid links and solid end links, as you guys saw earlier from the inside, so that's all solid. They're not folded, and it actually does have half links, which is cool, so you can get really good sizing on your bracelet, really precise fit. It has push pin connectors. The clasp is signed, as you can see, Mido, very nice. Single locking. It's stamped as far as the build goes, but what's nice is that this portion here is actually, you know, a milled out piece of metal, which you'll find a lot, even more expensive watches that'll get away with having this as just a stamped piece of metal. So it is pretty nice to see that as a full folding piece there. It does have a driver's extension, which is also stamped. You know, nothing pretty, nothing to write home about, but it does the job, and it checks the box of, you know, does it have a diver's extension? So it'll help you fit that over a dive suit if you need to. It also has 3 micro adjustments, as you can see here in the clasp, which helps also getting that perfect fit. So why don't I just go ahead and get it on wrist here, and let's get some on wrist reviews and looks. So I have a 7¼ inch wrist. I say this fits me pretty nicely. I like to keep it in between about 40 and 43 millimeters as far as you know, this size goes. That's what I'm comfortable with. This is extremely light, which is nice. So even though it is slightly on the larger side, it's so light. I mean, honestly, you can hardly feel it on there, and you can see it has a really nice thin profile. You can see the bracelet does taper down from the 22 millimeters, which is also very really nice feature. So you can really forget that this is even on. And then the cool thing is the colors. I mean, it really pops. I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to match with every single thing you have, but it's not going to necessarily clash. Let me just wipe it down real quick so you can get a good look. The finishing here, it does have those nice polished accents on the center links, and which is pretty nice. It's definitely a nice feature. It has a really original look. You can't say that it's paying homage to any other models that are already out there. It does have a couple of other color variants. You have blue with steel, black with steel. They have a black PVD model. There's another titanium one that doesn't have any gold accents, that comes on a rubber strap, and you can pretty much get any of them on rubber. Some comparable models to this would be the Seiko SBDC 007 or the Shogun. You can probably find a ton of reviews for those. People really love them. I think there's even one saying that it is the best sports watch out there. I wouldn't agree. I think it's a cool watch and it has a great look to it, and Seikos are nice, but I feel like, you know, it's a little expensive for what it is. It actually costs more than this bad boy. It has a lower beat count. It doesn't have a sapphire crystal, and what else? You know, it doesn't have a display case back. It does have a double locking clasp, but it's fully stamped, so that fold over is actually fully stamped, which isn't the nicest thing if you're going to be paying out here. Let me try to get it in so I can get this nice loom shot here. Let me just center that. Okay. Another comparable one would be the Certina DS Action Diver. They also have that in titanium as well, and you know, with also stainless steel variants. They're pretty hard to find in North America, which is kind of a drawback. There's also no display case back. The cool thing about that model is though that they are ISO qualified divers, which is really cool. I think the design is a little bit less original, but it's definitely you know, another option. I do have a DS Action Diver in steel that's blue that I'll be reviewing later on, but those are just kind of my thoughts on that. I'd say the bottom line for this watch, you're getting a lot of watch for the money, and it's from a really cool kind of in the know brand that isn't really common. So, you know, you don't have to worry about any kind of weird connotations that come with owning this brand. You know, it's not like a Tag or a Rolex or even an Omega. It's kind of a watch that's not going to define you. It's kind of your personality, and you get to wear it, and what you think of it is what you think of it. So let's get the loom shot in. Let me cut the lights, and hopefully this will turn out pretty nice. We can get a look at it. Okay, so as you can see, the hands do glow quite well, and that second marker is just chugging along there, which is really cool. So it's nice and bright. It has that blue hue to it. Very cool. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this watch. I wish I could find more reasons to wear it, but unfortunately I'm kind of a watch nut, and I have quite a few different models, so I do have to split the wrist time with a couple other watches. So until next time, make sure that if you liked the video, you should subscribe, and also comment or like the video, all that good stuff, and definitely stay tuned because we've got some great content coming this year. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Have a good one and appreciate the view. Feel free to comment. Thanks.